First off, thanks each of you for your hard work. I don't think what you do is easy. So we've had a tough time, other than the Marines, of hitting our recruitment numbers, right, for quite a few years. So should anybody be held accountable? And if so, have they been held accountable for not meeting our recruiting goals?
I'll start, sir. So our recruiting numbers in the Air Force have gone up. We're actually exceeding where we thought we would be. Some of it, we had the last 2-3 years, it was a little more difficult. COVID, I think, was one of the factors. The other thing is just the propensity to serve across our nation was down. And so we have put every effort we can into increasing our recruits, and we have exceeded our goals. We actually were planning to exceed it by about 3,000 this year, and we'll see if we have enough MilPers to cover that.
But they didn't. But y'all didn't meet the goals.
Yes, sir, we did this year.
Yeah, but the prior years.
No, sir, we did not. And so we looked at we had our own barriers internal to the Air Force, and so we removed those barriers. One of them, we had very strict, for example, tattoo policies. And so we removed some of those because it was a barrier for entrance from some of the population of our nation. So that increased it. The other thing that we did was we noted that internally to the Air Force, you had to have a driver's license in order to enter our Air Force. We removed that, and then we do, if it's required for your position, we will work on getting the driver's license. So all of the internal barriers we removed, and we have since seen a larger population from which we can recruit. Additionally, we did not lower our standards at all. We've maintained our standards, DoD standards.
But the individuals that were responsible for recruiting before you started making your numbers, should they have been held accountable or not, or is it something that was completely outside your control?
It's not. I don't think it's in my control, but I think that they were held accountable in the fact that they were given specific goals. We used to do goals every quarter, and now we do them monthly. And so our recruiter, who's a one-star general, reports to a 4-star. So I think the accountability was there from that aspect, sir.
Okay. But nothing happened to anybody for not meeting their goals. They were promoted just like anybody else.
Well, the same promotion. I mean, he's been a 1-star the whole time, so he hasn't yet been promoted.
Okay. How's the Navy? How about the Navy?
So I'll tell you that, sir, thanks for the question, and also thanks for the opportunity yesterday to speak with you in your office.
Goals, right? Go Navy.
Sir, we are far exceeding our goals, absolutely, in 2025. I anticipate sending 44,000 future sailors to boot camp, probably just under that number. Our goal is 40,600, so we're well above it. I think inside of our enterprise, inside the My Navy HR enterprise, we took a really hard look about who was tasked to do what. We upgraded the position of the Navy recruiting commander from a 1-star to a 2-star. And with that came a recruiting operations center. It came increased data analytics. A review of medical waiver processes came. We understand the data behind recruiting. To be candid, sir, I think we had to learn how to recruit coming out of COVID. And I won't speak for my fellow service members here, but that's how it was for the Navy. I think prior to COVID, we were very good at processing the people who walked in the recruiting stations. Coming out of COVID, with the decrease in propensity that General Miller just mentioned, we really had to learn how to recruit. We are up on step now, and we're running on all cylinders, sir.
How about the Army?
Yeah, thanks, Senator. As you know, probably a couple years ago, we completely revamped it. I think this was an Army entirety fault. I wouldn't say an individual, but I would say the Army was at fault. We were sleeping at the wheel for years on recruiting, resting on our laurels. And we put General Davis and a team of folks in there to revamp and relook how we did recruiting, systemically from the top and the bottom. Over the last 12 to 18 months, have been putting these in place, and we're seeing now the fruition. We saw that last year was a good year. This year is a great year. We are exceeding. We're over 50,000 recruits out of the 61,000 that we were shooting for this year, just 6 months in. So we're having, as I call it, catastrophic success with this, with how we're doing now.
But the ones in charge, when we weren't successful, nothing's happened to them. They were promoted just like normal. Like, I think that's true.
No, they weren't, Senator.
Okay. All right. Okay, so what's the slogan for the Marines?
Senator Scott, good to see you. We talked a bit about this. We put our best Marines in recruiting, even if they want to.
Do you have a slogan?
A slogan?
Yeah, you have a slogan?
The few, the proud. We have a lot of slogans, sir, if that's the one you're after. We don't promise you a rose garden. Many different. Well, we'll stop there.
I remember that one, so, but I was in the Navy. And Army, do you guys have one?
Yeah, this will defend, Senator.
And how about the Navy?
Sir, forged by the sea.
Air Force?
Fly, fight, and win. Aim high.
Space Force?
Semper Supra, always above.
And so do you think that when people come in, they know what your mission is? When you're recruiting, do they know what your mission is? And I think we've all heard for years the Marine slogan, and we've all heard for years the Army slogan, but I don't know, do you think we've heard the others? And do you think that that's a reason why we've had a hard time, is people not sure what we're doing? Anybody?
Senator, I'll speak to it from a Navy component. We've been with the Forged by the Sea marketing campaign for a little bit of time. It resonates well with younger folks. The average age of our recruit is 22, not necessarily 18 like some of the others are, so they're a little older. It resonates. That slogan, that culture manifests through boot camp, through A schools now, into the fleet, so I think it's nesting pretty well.
Senator, I'll offer from the Space Force perspective, being just over 5 years old, we took a concerted effort to market what a Guardian is and, more importantly, what they do specifically for the joint fight. So I acknowledge your point. It's one of the focuses that we have right now. We've actually built a planetarium show that we're debuting in a month at planetariums around the nation to get after exactly your point, which is, does the average American know what the Space Force is and that they can join it as its newest service?
You think they do?
Our data right now shows us that we have a brand awareness problem, absolutely.
That's what I would say in Florida.
Yes, yes. Space Force for sure, sir.
Yeah. So the Marines continue to be successful. Was after the problems that we had, did the other branches, did they follow what the Marines are doing? Did you guys look at what the Marines were doing? It's nice to be the one that never had a problem.
He tells us
I was
that
in
all the
business.
time,
I always
sir.
wanted to be number one.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I always wanted to be the one that nobody ever questioned my numbers.
Senator, from a Navy perspective, we did take a little bit of a look at what the Marines had done. We had already been involved in increasing the quality of our recruiters. And talking to my good friend here, that manifests in what they're doing. So the communities that provide our officer recruiters have increased the quality of those commanding officers that go to recruiting command, the commodores that oversee them. And we do provide a large amount of incentives for our enlisted sailors to head out to recruiting, and the quality there is increasing as well.
Senator, from the Air Force perspective, we absolutely did look at the Marines and their recruiting and the way that they attack it, and that they do put their best and brightest on there. So we did modify that over the last year when we added additional 400 plus recruiters, and that it was you had to be selected to be there as opposed to just throw your name in the hat because you thought it would be fun to do. So yes, sir, we did do that.
Senator, if I may, I would be remiss if I did not go on the record and note that the Space Force has made its recruiting numbers for the last 5 years. Albeit small, we are absolutely focused on finding the talent where it is and leveraging some technical ways to connect directly with those potential Guardians.
Yes, Senator, and the Army took into consideration even further professionalizing the recruiting force. So creating a new MOS, a new warrant officer that, taking some things from industry, training with industry and how they do that, how do they relate to get a little bit better, and selecting, not everybody is a good recruiter. Some people are better than others, and we're just making sure that we're putting the right people in the right places to access the people that we're trying to bring in.
Thank you for what you do. Thank you, Chairman.